Welcome to Constructech TV and our Tech Update. Today we will be examining the top 5 tech trends for construction. We'll be looking at the changing role of project managers, the impact of telematics on rentals, the importance of drones, the changes in ERP, and the future of smart cities and infrastructure. Let's begin by exploring the role of project managers. Now, I'd like you to ask yourself this. Have you considered changing your project manager job description to reflect today's millennials? If not, perhaps you should. The Bureau of Labor Statistics points to new skills that are needed. 20 years ago, a job description called for project managers to plan, direct, and coordinate activities. This was scheduling, budgeting, and implementation. This is still very true today, but tech adds a new component to the job description. The Labor Bureau says project managers often perform the tasks of a cost estimator. That means the use of software to allocate time and money. Couple that with the use of connected technology at the job site, and a project manager's job will be a bit more challenging. But perhaps this is truly an opportunity. Millennials coming into the workforce can use technology skills as a way to stand out. So what is the outlook for project managers? The Labor Department says employment will rise as much as 5% by 2024. And as processes and buildings become more complex, they will all require greater oversight. Jobs will demand more specialized management personnel. So get ready, project managers will be more tech savvy than ever before. Now let's look at equipment. The first crane for lifting heavy loads was invented by the Greeks. Now just ask Gus at my big fat Greek wedding. All of us Greeks like to say every word has its root from that word from the Greeks. In that case, cranes date back to the late 6th century BC. Fast forward to 1917, and the first mass-produced heavy equipment was Fordson. For those of you who might not know, this was a brand of Henry Ford and Sons. Now let me ask you this. Would you have thought, or would have Henry Ford ever thought today his equipment would collect data? That is exactly what is happening at the job site today with the help of telematics. This is often used in construction equipment to gather information. Now it is transforming how equipment is rented. For the rental companies, telematics allows for more accurate billing, monitoring by region, completing repairs, and theft reduction. But that is just the beginning. Contractors benefit as well. Rental programs can help reduce downtime and ensure maintenance is planned. Telematics has made its mark in automotive, but now it is changing work at the job site. The next tech trend is drones. These devices are flying onto the job sites, but there are a lot of factors to consider. Legislation puts a lot of constraints on the technology. But the good news is there are a lot of specialists. Drone services are quickly emerging. But much like what occurred with BIM years ago, contractors didn't know how to leverage it. So they contracted it out to a third party. Much has changed with BIM since that time. Now we are seeing many contractors using drone services. This takes the burden off the construction company. The real question you should be asking is whether you should be considering drone services for your company. Drones are coming, but are you ready? ERP change is on the horizon. This trend is certainly making its mark known. 10 or 20 years ago, ERP, otherwise known as Enterprise Resource Planning, was supposed to be a one-stop shop. Its roots came from manufacturing. It refers to this suite of integrated applications to collect data. Is there ever a one-stop shop for everything, especially considering all the emerging technology on the job site? In order to enable this, ERP needs to evolve. Data exchange needs to be seamless. Traditional accounting and ERP systems needs to integrate easily with other technologies. So watch as ERP continues to get uprooted. Our final tech trend for today is smart cities and infrastructure. Many cities are rolling out programs. We see this in Kansas City, Kansas, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina, just to name a few. Now, several organizations are launching even more initiatives. The Connected City Advisory Board has launched its Connected City Blueprint. This guides cities and governments in developing connected city plans. It also highlights the technology required. The challenge is interoperability. We need smarter and more sustainable cities and infrastructure. But integrating all of this technology can be very difficult. Daniel Castro, professor and chair in the School of Building Construction at Georgia Institute of Technology, is here to address some of the challenges and opportunities. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Peggy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, Daniel, let's really begin our discussion talking about the construction industry and more specifically the built environment and technology. Where do you think it's headed? What's your thoughts right now?
My thoughts, Peggy, are related to ways of improving communication, kind of monitoring the projects, especially field information, how to convey that information to the office. It's better to spend more time in the office preventing problems than trying to fix them in the field. So I think that's where we're heading.
Is there a lot of research being done right now that we haven't talked about or that you're really excited about?
Yes, I mean, what I have seen is a lot of research on, not just on BIM, building information modeling development, which, the private sector is doing that. What I've seen more is ways of integrated BIM into decisions, that designers, construction managers, equipment operators can use, and I think just to address issues in safety, in productivity, material management, etc. So that's what I see the research is heading there.
How about sustainability? As I hear you talking right now, what comes to mind is that idea of sustainability. Where are we with that? Is that playing a big role in all of this?
Yes, I would say, probably 10 years ago, everybody was talking about, certificating buildings and designers being accredited. But what I've seen now is it's not negotiable anymore. In other words, and now almost everything that we do has to be sustainable. So, but that means the controls and, as you said, protocols are very important now, because probably performance is going to be more important than sustainability. I mean, because sustainability, we have to do it no matter what. But the way we accomplish, effective measures and the way we save budget and schedule, that's going to be the issues that we need to really pay attention to.
I have probably one more question here, but I'm thinking about the whole smart city side of this, because that's going to bring it all together, and we talk about a lot of that. Where do you see all of the big picture of that going for, now and into the future?
Well, data, there's a lot of data coming from equipment, as you know, vehicles, especially the new vehicles that are out there are throwing a lot of data to the cloud. So we're being suddenly having to manage a lot of data. And I think in construction sites, equipment are also going to give us a lot of data. Not just cycle times, but also energy, usage from those pieces of equipment, fuel, oil, maintenance, also operator information. So suddenly we're going to be facing a lot of data that we can use, to improve things on the job site, not only for the benefit of the business itself or the operation, but also for the benefit of the safety of the operators and the workers.
Well, Daniel, there you have it. As you just said, we'll need a lot of things to make smart cities grow. We'll need a lot of standards and everything. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Anytime, Peggy. Thank you very much, and have a great week.
You do the same. All right, that's your tech update for today. Have you considered how to protect your most valuable asset, your workers? If not, OSHA has some recommendations for you. For the first time in 30 years, OSHA updated its guidelines for safety and health programs. Now, this reflects changes in the economy and the workplace. Recently, I had a chance to check out the recommended practices for construction. Now, there's a lot you should be contemplating. The new recommendations take into consideration construction technology and even equipment. They also recognize the aging workforce and the increasing diversity in construction. In the document, OSHA highlights actually 9 points, and here are a few things to help you actually get started. First, always set safety as a top priority. Lead by example. Implement a reporting system. Provide training. Conduct inspections. Collect hazard control ideas. Implement hazard controls. Address emergencies, and always make improvements. OSHA's website is very helpful, and I encourage you to see all the details included in the document. One of the key takeaways is monitoring performance. Workers constantly need to collect safety data. Both lagging and leading indicators should be used. And for those of you who don't know, lagging tracks exposure to injuries that already occurred, while leading tracks how programs have been implemented. So this prevents injuries before they occur. As I see it, gathering all this data is truly essential for safety. And while the guidelines don't point to specific examples, technology is going to be key to collecting all this data. I so encourage you to take a look at these new OSHA guidelines. It just might help you protect your most important asset on the job site, and that's your workers. That's your safety zone for today. Technology is no longer a tool. It's how contractors do business. 20 years ago, we saw how BIM disrupted construction. It changed how builders deliver services and opened a floodgate of innovation. As the role of technology has continued to evolve, it has integrated into every aspect of construction, from design to estimating, all the way through closeout and building maintenance. Technology is the central nervous system of construction today. Pepper Construction is one construction company that truly understands this. This Chicago-based company has a unique approach for integrated construction services. Here to tell us all about it is Jennifer Suerth, who's the Vice President of Technical Services at Pepper Construction. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Jennifer, I'm so delighted because we've talked so many times about what Pepper's doing and what you're doing, but let's talk about this integrated services and technology in general and what you guys are all about.
Yeah, so I manage our technical services team, and that really encompasses a lot to do with virtual design and construction and BIM, as well as MEP coordination. So what that really means to those out there that don't really know is anything from 3D coordination to virtual reality, augmented reality, drone operations, laser scanning, you name it. Anything where technology is really touching our business, we're going to be there along the side, just really working together. That group at Pepper is part of a bigger umbrella, which we call Integrated Construction Services. Our ICS group is pre-construction, technical services, high performance, safety, and quality. So all of our groups are working together closely throughout all the projects in our organization, really helping implement our services across the board.
So let's talk about that. When we talk about technology, and one of the things you talked about just now is augmented reality, virtual reality, would we ever have thought that construction would have evolved to use those kind of terms right now? Because we're really seeing that, and you're using things that I couldn't have imagined in construction in this day. Where are we now, and how are you seeing technology evolve in construction?
Yeah, so I think it's funny because I started in the design side. So a lot of people think, when they think of this technology, they think designers are using it, which they are, but construction's really pushing it. So 20 years ago when VDC really came into the industry, it was mostly for 3D coordination. So taking models, running clash detection, looking at mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. Where we're at today now is we're really pushing it further. We're really looking at the information in that technology. So all the way from upfront planning through to the end, we're handing over information to those owners. It's more than just coordinating buildings now. It's about using data.
And looking at that, that's a great expression of talking about using data, because construction is really trying to understand what that big data that we talk about. Are we actually going to see construction leading the charge in understanding because we're collaborating in the field better than we ever did, from the field to the job site, all the way to the office? Is that changing the way communication, collaboration, when we talk about BIM, all of those things that we are now seeing when we talk about information?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're really, I always say when our teams are running coordination is we're the master modeler or coordinator. So we're taking all the information that we're getting from design teams, from owners, from trades and subcontractors, our own models, and really tying them together. We're often actually putting in extra information that we need for our own operations. That could be parameters to track pricing. It could be energy modeling. We're doing energy analysis modeling now at Pepper Construction. Anything you name it, owners are now requiring us to track assets for operations and maintenance. So we're already creating these models at a fabrication level. We can add extra parameters in there that they can use downstream. Because really at the end of the day, it's all about how their buildings operate.
Let's talk about our next generation, the millennials, and getting them excited about being into construction, because that's what we see. We see right now we're going to have a job shortage, a skill shortage, so to speak. How do we get our next generation excited, from both millennials to even other women, to see that construction is really a sophisticated industry and not this grungy, in the work, dirty kind of job? It's really an exciting, sophisticated industry.
Yeah, I think they should just come out and see a job site or come to our office. I think a lot of people don't realize all the things we're doing. I mean, you see people going to school and wanting to be gamers, and they come to our office and realize we're using this technology in construction.
In the cranes, right?
Yeah.
It's highly.
We're building these buildings before they're even, constructed, not only coordinating but planning. So we're looking at sequencing as he's building up where those cranes go, where the trucks go, and sometimes actually putting it in VR and walking the job sites to plan. So I think as people are moving up in their careers and they're coming out of school, they should really just look at all the opportunities that they can have in construction. It's very, very exciting time to be joining the industry.
Is that something we have to let our youth understand, that technology has changed so quickly, the opportunities they haven't even thought are boundless?
Oh yeah, I tell everyone that our job changes daily. So what I was doing even 5 years ago is not what I'm doing today, and it's just going to continue to evolve. And honestly, a lot of that innovation is coming from the field and these project teams. So we get to really help mold the way this future's going as we're working with technology.
One final question before you go. Where do you see construction or the city of the future? Because we now talk about spaces are going to change, smart cities, things like this. How do you see Pepper's role in that? Because I imagine you guys are talking about the way the cities are going to shape and change and our spaces are going to be reconfigured. Do you see that? You talk a lot about that?
Yeah, well, I first think the role as a VDC engineer or, whatever, BIM coordinators, as people, anybody, there's lots of different titles, is really going to start to blend with some of the other roles. So I don't picture VDC going away, I just picture it changing. So we're actually at Pepper really conscious of that. So we're rotating people through our positions so that there are team members that will come into our tech service group, learn this technology, and then go run a project. So they're able to actually blend between our ICS group and the field. Additionally, I think predictive analytics is going to be huge in our industry. We're collecting tons and tons of data right now, and I think you always hear data overload. People don't know what to do with it. Well, I think predictive analytics is the next step. We can start using that data, predict where there may be issues in the field, and start using that information to really help plan, because it's all about planning up front to be able to see the value at the end.
Well, there you have it. You're learning it all right there from Pepper Construction. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us. So there's someone you should know. And stick around. We've got so much more to come, and learning so much more about what's happening not only in your city, but in our city here in Chicago. So it's all exciting time in construction.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. F.A. Wilhelm might know something you don't. This construction company is using a semi-automated mason at one of its job sites. Yep, that's right. A robot is working on the Pacers training project. This particular robot is known as SAM, and it comes from Construction Robotics. The technology averages more than 2,000 bricks laid per day. Now, for comparison's sake, the average mason lays about 300 to 400 bricks per shift. Now, the job of a mason isn't going to disappear, no, not just anytime soon, but to date, 2 SAM certified masons operate the automated machine. These individuals traveled to Construction Robotics headquarters for 3 days of training. They learned mapping software. They also learned how to troubleshoot and keep a real-time view of each brick laid. Now, if we look at it, robotics like SAM also reduce kind of the health and safety risks of the labor force. But it also requires new technical skills for construction workers. So we're starting to see here that the job of the mason, while we mentioned, isn't going away anytime soon, but we're seeing also really great changes. The machinery, though, isn't cheap either. It has a very hefty price tag. All in all, it points to this growing technology trend in the construction industry, and that's robotics. We see a number of analysts predicting growth. Research and Markets actually says service robotics is poised to grow as much as 15% by 2022, and SAM is just one example. We might even see robotic woodworking machines. Now think about this. This is a fully automated machine to help build prefabricated houses faster. The robots are actually coming. Are you ready? That's your innovation in technology for today. Welcome to Got a Tool. Today we're looking at old technology versus new technology as we talk about connected batteries using Bluetooth. We're also going to be looking at DeWalt's Tool Connect app. So let's get started. Right now we're going to walk through the DeWalt Tool Connect app. And as you'll see right now, we've already are going to actually log in the battery that we have and the connected battery, and we're going to call it Battery 1. And what we're doing right now is we're actually going to sync or otherwise pair our battery onto the app. And while we wait while it's actually pairing, as you're going to see, it's taking a little time as it's talking to the server. It's trying to pair everything up so we get everything on the app. And it's already, so you'll see our battery is now paired. That's our tool. You could have other tools that are pairing that might be connected. And there you see it's already looking, that's our battery. It's paired, our connected battery. So now let's go to we're gonna go to our next screen here. And our next screen is actually talking about the health of our battery. So this is our diagnostics. We're actually seeing the fuel, or that might be called, but this is actually our battery, how much it's greater than 80% charge, the status, the health, it's in great health, the temperature, like if we've used our battery a lot. So we're seeing a lot of different kind of things about the battery. Also, like identify, what I like about this, if I had lots of batteries and I really wanted to check on where those batteries are and I was looking at it, I'm looking at a light and I can actually identify which battery was specifically my battery. And so I can actually identify if I had 4 or 5 and that battery popped up. So that's really a nice opportunity. So now my next screen, if I'm looking at, I want to actually look at if I have a battery that's out of range. I can actually check the status of that. I can actually disable a battery that it shouldn't have been taken out. So if somebody grabs my battery and I don't want it, I can also have an alert when my battery's starting to get low on its charge, or an alert if it's getting too high on its temperature, or if I have other types of alerts. So that's what's really nice about this screen. It gives me all kinds of information that I want to have. So right now, as you can see, everything here on this screen right now is I'm being able to show you when I've paired it, the information, the health of life of my battery, or any connected tool. So the DeWalt Connected app gives you great information about your connected tool. So that's what we have right here on Got a Tool. Hope you enjoyed this edition of Got a Tool. Documentation is one of the greatest hurdles facing the construction industry. In the past, hard copies of plans and revisions would be stored for years. Entire rooms would have rolls of paper. Today, this can often be moved online. However, while technology offers an easier way, managing all of this documentation can be very challenging. Much of the data still exists in silos, which makes it difficult to get good analytics. Business analytics can be very magical. Real-time intelligence and cognitive and artificial intelligence are just the beginning. Data can help make decisions and cut a project schedule significantly. Often, businesses are missing out on the real benefits. This is why education on how to best use the tools is so very essential. This can help streamline processes between the office and the job site, and even in the life cycle of a project. Training can provide insight into how to use all of these systems. It can also help identify how to create a better workflow. There are many opportunities out there. One example comes from Bluebeam, which offers training on PDF creation. A tutorial actually explains how to do this from the Bluebeam PDF printer driver to a scanner all the way to images. Here, construction professionals can learn so much more. This type of training actually provides an insight into improved processes into construction. This is something you might want to consider today, and that's your Learn It. IoT. Many of you have probably heard this acronym, but few of you may actually know what it means. At its core, the IoT, otherwise known as the Internet of Things, provides data. It provides the ability to interpret real-time information that can be acted upon in a timely manner. It connects people, devices, networks, and everyday objects. It goes beyond the connection of things and enterprises. It must create business models for the Internet of Things. So what does this look like for construction? Simply, if done correctly, tools will check themselves in and out. Trucks will send an alert when a fuel tank needs to be filled. Materials indicate where they are located. Employee badges will help track workers down. Now these things we talk about will share experiences. They'll touch, they'll control, and sense. They communicate on a network or in the cloud, and it actually listens. This is how the IoT is changing construction. The technology is truly here today. It is now a matter of identifying how to leverage it on the job site. The Internet of Things. That's the word of the day. Thanks for watching Constructech TV, where we are talking tech at the job site.